So faith is something that is very hard to comprehend and search and find, and we have these beautiful religions that have been blessed by messengers and incarnations of the divine that came upon the planet to show us pathways to feel and experience and to see that beautiful journey, that beautiful road of experience. So in the Sikh tradition, the word Sikh means student. And we have a guide, a teacher called the Guru, which is more than actually a teacher. The Guru is someone who is the knower of the student's heart, of its well-being and serving its needs. And as any place of study or university, college, institution, a student must surrender himself to the divine knowledge to receive. And in the Sikh tradition, the Guru emphasized the importance of food. It's the sustenance of life, as we've heard all the speakers talk about. A place of worship where Sikhs congregate is called a Gurudwara, and we have something there called the Langar, or community kitchen. And since the time of Guru Nanak, dating back to 15th century, anyone who came and visited the Gurudwara, a place where the Guru was residing, we have beautiful buildings now made out of stone and brick. In those days it would be tents erected places, and everyone is encouraged to come and sit and be fed. And the idea of this was community, of nobody should ever go hungry. Doesn't matter what religion you are, maybe you are not, caste, colour, gender, whoever you may be, come and be fed, be served. Give me the honour and privilege to serve you. And in that service, the one who is serving is to feel the divine, and is encouraged to always remember the name of God in every action and thought he does. We have a mantra, which is a kind of a hip word these days, but it's called Waheguru, wondrous, glorious Lord. In everything I do, I see you. In this service, in the person who is sitting in front of me, I am serving. It is you, it's your presence, your light that I am serving. And there's something that cultivates inside the student, the practitioner, this beautiful energy of warmth, this vibration, a feeling of great depthness. Something is working within us that is calming the mind's ever active, flowing thought, creating, swaying the way that it does. Sometimes in the past, sometimes in the future, never in the present. But in these actions, in this meditation of serving, there is an experience of the divine that slowly starts to well some love and grows from that. There is a small poem that I wanted to share with you, written by the fifth Guru. Thal vich dil vastu payo sat sandok vicharo. Upon this plate, three things have been placed: truth, contentment, and contemplation. Amrit naam Thakur ka payo jiska sarse dharo. The ambrosial nectar of the Naam, the holy name of the Lord and Master, has been placed upon it as well, and it is a support of all. Je ko khave, je ko punje, diska hue lal. One who eats it, enjoys it, shall be saved. E vast taji nahi jaye, nit nit rakh kar. This thing can never be forsaken. Keep this always and forever in your Tam sansara jal jagatariya sabnanak brahm prasad. The dark world ocean is crossed over by grasping the feet of the Lord. O Nanak, it is all the extension of God. And it kind of symbolizes where Langar kind of started from. It was during when Guru Nanak, in his very young age, his father was a merchant, decided that Guru Nanak was of age of going and buying stock for the warehouses. So he said to him and gave him 20 rupees that go and do a good trade with this money. His father was thinking that go and buy profitable items so we can take advantage of good sales and make more profit. But Guru Nanak saw something else. When he travelled and he came across many sadhus. Sadhus are people who are very spiritual, who travel and do pilgrimages and always attached to the divinity, the divine name of God, in various and different ways. And these sadhus, there was many, many hundreds of them, who had never ate for many, many days. Guru Nanak always had a joy speaking to spiritual beings and learning more, sharing and taking in all aspects of different practices of faith. So after speaking to them and learning they haven't ate for several days, he goes to his accomplice, Mardana. Mardana, this is it. And he said, what do you mean? This is the good trade my father was talking about. Let's go and buy some food and serve these sadhus who've been hungry for many days. Mardana was hesitant. I don't think that's what your father intended. But anyhow, he did that. And he served them for several days. Upon returning home, Nanaki, who was Guru Nanak's sister, saw from afar that Guru Nanak was coming and got very excited and started to shout in the home from the rooftop, "Well, Nanak is here." The father was puzzled that how was he able to come back so quickly? So they waited at the door, and as Nanak approached, and the father asked, "Well, where is all the goods?" He goes, "Father, I did the good trade." And he got slapped for it. That wasn't the trade he intended. But from that moment, this act of divinity, this act of beauty, this surrender, ricocheted and ripple effect, especially in our tradition. And Langar is running in every gurdwara around the world. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, you're always welcome to take part in that. You might always get different volunteers or, certain volunteers, because it is a place of community. You'll meet all sorts of different characters, but the food is available. And where it's best seen is at the Golden Temple in Amritsar, where it saves about 140,000 people every single day, 24 hours a day. And it's still running on this power of divinity and love and compassion and service, this selfless service. Our diet is vegetarian, so we don't have meat, fish, or eggs. The only time ever we are to consume meat would be if there was no food to eat, and we were stranded somewhere and we had to go and actually hunt it. Then the animal would be blessed and killed in a very spiritual way, however that is, a spiritual way of killing an animal. Utterance of sacred words. And I've actually seen this once upon a time, that in South India there was a goat being sacrificed, and as they started to read out the verses, the goat was very hesitant at first, and after about 5-10 minutes it became very straight, and his neck became very straight. And with one swing of the sword, his head was cut off. It put me off meat for the rest of my life. So I became a devout vegetarian in all cases and matters. But there is a discipline of how the food is prepared. The person preparing the food is always encouraged to have a meditative mind. to always be chanting or remembering, contemplating. And going back to this point, in this plate, 3 things have been placed: truth, contentment, and contemplation. Nowadays, there's lots of case studies on the power of mind and intention and focus and placing thoughts in this present moment and how they manifest in the universe, and something will come back, and I think we call that prayer. It's quite an easy way of explaining it. And in the very same way, the person who's preparing and making food is encouraged to have this truthful contemplation, grateful, this attitude of gratitude while preparing food, and this beautiful energy that's cultivated and instilled into the food. And the people who partake in eating it, it becomes something very healing. And this is the case. It's like the Philosopher's Stone. And places of worship when food is served, there is something very special, and it feels very healing within us when it goes inside. The person who consumes the food is to pray and pay thanks for this food, as we all do when we have grace and other formats of appreciation. And there's a saying in India, they used to say, Jaisa an, taisa man. What kind of food you eat will reflect on the state of mind. So there's something that's going on with the vibration and thinking whilst we're consuming food in this process, that it's turning into something very divine, holy food, given from the one God, the one Creator who is the giver of all. Yes, I think that is about all that is coming to share with you.